That would scare you?
Well, once I realized what it was, I'd be like, oh, okay.
What was that noise?
That was Lowell dying.
That was nothing. Nothing happened. This is your human friend, Lowell.
Hello, human friend Lowell.
Yes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends from Aeramis. We're going to be doing a special episode of Talking Aeramis.
Woo!
Why is it special, Jeff?
Because fuck technology.
That's kind of what I was expecting.
That's what I've been saying.
We all also have really bad giggle fits right now, apparently.
So, those of you who are on my Facebook page, which is Geeks New England, and if you're not on the Facebook page, how dare you? You will know that when we had our Christmas special on December 16th, we had a bit of an audio boo-boo and lost a vast majority of the episode's audio.
The audio lost initiative.
So sad. So sad.
Which makes me really sad because I would argue that's one of the best episodes. Like, that's one of the best D&D sessions I've ever run.
That one?
I think so, too.
It was definitely the best role-playing I've ever done. And that made me sad.
I fucking kicked ass and made people drop their stuff.
Well, it was a lot of fun because we had a lot of good fights and a lot was at stake, so it kind of brought out our characters a bit more in conflict.
Yeah. So, with that audio being lost, and then with the craziness of the holiday season and New Year's, and I figured our anniversary came and went. We started recording our first episode on January 1st, 2016. And I believe it was released to the public on January 3rd. So in effect, this is going to be our anniversary / makeup holiday episode. We're not going to be playing the game, so I apologize if anyone is like, "Aww." And instead, you're going to listen to us talk about the game, and everyone's hanging up now.
Yeah, I was to say, so you can stop listening now if,
No, we're gonna go over what happened during the holiday special. We're going to talk about the game as a whole, and we'll be back. We should be recording a session on the 16th of January, so we'll have an actual episode for you in the next week or two.
Now, do you still have the audio that we recorded?
I still have
of like what we got.
I still have the roughly 2 hours or so that made it through.
Lost episode when you get really famous.
My audio never died.
Yeah, and we have Lowell's
We just have Lowell
have
like
Lowell's
going,
half.
so just responding to things and going for the whole time.
It's just 20 minutes of silence and then just here. I agree with Camden.
God.
So maybe we'll do a lost episode at some point. We'll be like, this is the 2 hours that we had.
The first 2 hours are my favorite.
Oh my god, what if we tried to just do a reconstruction? And the sound just cuts. It's like, and now with a reconstruction. Okay, I think I said this.
No, we all have the British accents. And then, finally, at the end of this...
I'm much better at an Australian accent.
Only
Australia.
Leander's audio is correct, and everybody else just has to try and guess what they were saying around it.
I think I mentioned something about that rock over there. Leander agrees with Camden. Damn it!
So, does anyone have anything they want to talk about before we get into our discussion?
Well, first things first, I figure we should introduce ourselves like we always do. And,
that's true.
Talia is not with us right now.
Yes, Victoria's not with us today. She had to work. Boo.
She got abducted by the wizard again! We gotta go back!
No one knows about the wizard.
Can we do a time travel episode?
I know about the wizard.
Think of time travel.
Yes, Leander knows about the wizard.
We've got to go back.
You're a wizard.
So, speaking of the wizard, actually no, we'll introduce first, just so that people still have that whole voice to name thing. James, who are you?
Hi, my name is James, and I play Camden Ironhands, the human blood hunter.
Hi, I'm Andrew, and I am just Andrew today. But I play Thunder, the Razor Claw Shifter Rogue.
Hi, I'm Andrew, and I am just Andrew today. I was saying what he said. My name's Jen, and I play Evathandala, the elf druid that is also a bear wolf. Other thing... I don't know other animals. I think I was a spider one time.
You were a spider
one time.
And maybe something else.
You can turn into a lot of other things, you know.
I know, and I could be a rhino. I could
Yes.
be a boar. I could
Yeah,
be...
could be a rhino.
If I see something in real life, can I turn into it this game?
No.
Oh, because I saw a
Lol.
bug today.
I was waiting for that introduction to end.
I know.
Excuse you.
You couldn't see, but my eyes were steadily narrowing as my mouth steadily became more agape.
you became
James
Leander?
James knows which face I was making.
He's making it right now.
Where you
James
shake your
literally
head
said that.
slowly from side to side, like, what the? I am Lowell, and I play Leander, the party's lawful evil cleric.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of the wizard you mentioned earlier, let's do something. Let's do something here.
Are you going to make us roll initiative to tell a story?
No, not quite.
Take out your D5.
No, there's 4 of you.
Oh, well.
So, James, do you remember how the session started?
Shit. No, yeah, I absolutely remember how it started. So we began asleep in bed.
Yes,
In
you
the
were
inn.
at the tavern. The inn, specifically.
And from there, we awoke to the sound of someone knocking on the door.
Actually, I would
No, he-
argue that Camden was actually sleeping at the bar.
No,
I wasn't.
he was already there.
Yes, this
he
was
already
already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just popped into existence.
Okay, so some
He's space jury duty.
so some guy popped into existence right inside of our rooms, and we all wake up and obviously, immediately go for our weapons, some of us, and other people just kind of stare blankly. And some people ask questions. Now, possibly the weirdest thing about this intruder in the middle of the night was the fact that he spoke through the meta. So, not only was he responding to what other players were saying in separate rooms, so it looks like it was just one instance of him, he was also responding to what we as players were saying to each other, which was extremely confusing
and uncomfortable.
and uncomfortable. Am I done? Can I go home now?
No, no. Well, you are home. You can't leave.
So, after we had that experience where we're trying to figure out what the hell the wizard's talking about, he mentions that we're needed somewhere, and through some small objection of nobody but probably Camden and Leander, he teleported us.
Yep.
As we were being teleported, we kind of got a little bit of a backstory from Jeff as he creepily read some sort of poetry that he made himself.
I did.
Snaps were given.
I should read the poem. Is that a good idea?
Oh.
You don't want the poem? Did you not like the poem, though?
It was
Paul's here because he's on contract.
yeah, if I don't show up, I get sued.
The poem read thus. When winter's chill and snow come down, the season of solstice will soon abound, and all of the boys and girls alight with wonder, joy, and hope much bright. But what of those whose hearts turn down, who kick and cry, and huff and frown? These naughty things you should not sing, for you'll guess not the terror they'll bring. But it is not solstice, the Yule has yet come, so children you may now hoe and hum, but let this be a warning despite the season, for the terror hears all, and cares not the reason.
Dun-dun-dun.
So we get that creepy shit. And then all of us materialize, basically, thankfully with our gear, in the middle of a frozen wasteland.
Yes, with the hamlet of Morgar Pass, nestled in a valley before you.
So that was really nice, because if I had to go questing in the middle of, frozen winter in my jams, I'd be mighty pissed. Yeah. So we start walking forward, and we start looking around for any signs of life, and we find...
I am not walking.
Oh, yeah.
You were sprinting!
We don't have
Because
clothes on.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Thunder is wearing, like... I don't even know what to call it. It's like a bra. It's like a training bra, and then
I'm very JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
yes,
I don't wear pants. In
Right.
real life and as
True.
character.
And we offered that you should probably, shift into some sort of animal who was adapted to the cold. And your response was, if I remember correctly, Fuck that.
That's right. And I was the only one who didn't have to make a cold weather check because Leander is the only person who's in like a fucking coat with gloves.
Yeah, and a scarf. And
And
you
a
do
scarf.
wear a scarf. It's part of your outfit.
He was like, everyone make cold weather rolls. And I was like, I'm really dressed for this season. Can I just be okay? And Jeff was just like, yeah, all right.
Which arguably, you should be
makes
suffering
sense.
a lot more in the summertime of Aeramis.
Right?
I've narrated
Yes,
in
be alive
sessions
for that.
taking off the coat before.
You have.
Yeah. No, I take it off. Leander takes off his coat and scarf if we're in a hot area.
So from there, we find a stranded person with basically a sleigh. So he's been stranded here. The snow's been piling up. And so we come upon him and ask him a couple of questions, freak him out as we do as a party of, some short girl.
Degenerates, murderers,
With a wolf.
thieves.
Yeah, nice guys.
Do you guys remember his name?
Tom.
Tom Kendall.
Tom Springford. Wait.
No.
So we walk up to Tom, and we basically ask him, what the fuck are you doing out here? And Tom, says something about helping his family, this storm came in, doesn't know what's happening, and everybody he loves is basically holed up in the village down the hill. So we start trying to get the sleigh, and we eventually get it moving through melting the snow with Camden's fire. We have a couple of people pushing and pulling the sleigh.
I tried.
Nova Doug.
Nova dug out
Nova
some,
dug out the sled.
some of the sleds, snow, and we started down towards the town.
Yes.
Me again. Okay. So once we
Wow, the dice really wants you. The dice really wants you to do it. All right, Lowell, what happened next?
Yes, okay. So, we arrived in the town and went into the house. It was populated by the cast of Krampus. That's all you need to know. Now,
I booted my way into that.
yes,
Yeah.
we walked into the
I
house.
was like, is that your house?
We walked into the house, and the cast of the movie Krampus was sitting there. So, they were like, man, this weird storm came out of nowhere. And Talia was like, I'm going to see if dragons are in the area. Oh, crap. There's a giant white dragon. No one tell anyone. To which Leander immediately said, everyone, there is a white dragon in the area. You should start panicking.
This is accurate so far.
Yep.
I actually in the game version. It was actually we were getting frustrated with the family because they insisted on coming with us to go fight whatever
Yes.
danger this was. And as Leander gets frustrated, he leaves the house saying, "There's a dragon," and then we leave.
Well,
I believe I was screaming it, and one of you were dragging me out of the house.
Yeah. Before you left, though, one of the family members went missing.
Yes,
I was going to say that, but other people took over.
That's okay.
Yeah, so we went, and then the little suicide squad of level 1 family members decided to come with us.
Because
Because they had a stake in the matter and human emotions. No.
because
The daughter, right?
the daughter
Beth.
Yes. You're just reading my notes.
No, I remember.
Had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
The daughter
So
Beth had a boyfriend.
her boyfriend's house is down the road. So we're like, all right. So Beth sneaks out while we're all bickering, which is all the time, and then heads down, and then headed down the road. So we're like, you know what? We better go after her because she could be dead right now. So we all went out into the street, us, and then Tom, as well as the other guy whose name escapes me, but I would
Howard,
bet money,
his,
Jeff. I was going to say I would bet money James remembers.
Howard, who was Tom's brother-in-law.
I remembered it because it's like the duck.
Oh my god. James remembers even the most obscure bullcrap from my game, so I just knew he probably knew. All right, yeah.
remembers like
So we went down the
things
street,
too.
and then when we got there, we got into a very minor encounter that was probably the biggest boss encounter of the whole game.
A minor
Well,
encounter.
remember that when you guys reached the house was blown open.
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I was setting the scene.
You jumped ahead with the setting the scene. That's why I said something.
All right, so we get there. I know I was building the mood for suspense.
Okay.
Now, so we arrive there and find that the house is a ruined husk. The chimney has caved in as though something massive went down it. Presumably Santa needs a diet. The windows were like blasted open and the house is dark and abandoned. And there is no sign of the family's daughter. I believe her name was Beth.
Correct.
So, Tom and Howard are like, oh crap, shit be going down, yo. So the tracks in the snow get more askew as we find out, and suddenly they just stop abruptly. Although there are giant hoof prints on the ground as though something grabbed her. And then we got attacked by a giant ice monster and some little snow creatures, and chaos ensued.
This was the figure you guys fought, by the way.
It's such a beautiful.
It is such a nice figure.
I just got myself
It's so pretty.
a new iron golem.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Yes. So, so what I'm guessing was supposed to be a very light encounter, instead nearly killed us all in a dramatic onslaught of death and fury. Camden, I think, went down twice.
Yep.
Yep. Can confirm.
Yep.
Leander and Thunder were forced to make a dramatic final stand.
Twice.
Thunder didn't abandon Leander, which Leander would have done to Thunder. And he appreciated that. A giant bear kept rushing people to safety.
Yeah, Ava kept running in, grabbing
Yes.
people, and moving back.
I think just about everyone went unconscious at some point. But
Except for Talia and Evathon.
Yes.
Talia didn't go down, and Evathon didn't go down. Nova did go down.
Yep.
Taking like a boss, fucking bitches.
Tom never went down. The NPCs never went
Oh yeah,
down.
they just ran.
And
Although they
halfway-
also never fired any. They never hit anything either.
Yes. And the NPCs just stood there and looked pretty, and until eventually Howard was grabbed by a dark, shadowy figure, illuminated by the moonlight from a nearby roof. It turned, and you know what? Just look at the movie poster for Krampus. That's what it was. Anyway. So we would have chased Krampus back because he was headed to the house, but we were too busy being murdered. Being fucking murdered. But when the combat ended, we were all barely alive, walking with broken limbs, covered in blood. It was horrendous. And then we were like, oh good, and now we have to deal with a giant satyr monster.
As a side note, what were those things? They're not chorus, which are what they are in Skyrim. Those things that we killed in the first.
The little elementals.
Those things that you
in
killed.
the first episode.
Those things you killed in the first episode. The first episode, you guys didn't fight anything.
The second episode.
The second episode, you fought a manticore.
Yep.
This is your revenge for us killing the manticores.
No, Jeff killed the baby manticores because it was part of the story.
Yeah.
I will say this about the fight. Probably my favorite part of the fight is we had someone melt the giant ice elemental's face. Like half of his face got melted off. And then, from the back, Talia crit.
Lol with his hammer.
He dented in his
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Broke his face.
Oh
Yep.
man.
On the left side.
And then we had Talia from the back crit him. And Jeff narrated that it got hit right in its eye. And then Lowell asked, wait a second, how much of its face was dented? And Jeff said about him as much as, what would cover his
Yeah,
I
eye.
had already described that as like his entire left side was gone,
Right?
including that
and
eye.
the arrow was hit, so Lowell pushed for blinded, and we got it.
Yeah.
And so then he was kicking our ass without looking at
I was
us.
like, wait a minute, he's only got one eye, and you just said Talia's arrow hit him in the eye, so he's blinded, right? And Jeff was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it proceeded to continue kicking our asses anyway.
Oh, because it might be important later. At a moment of desperation, Leander stared against this giant beast. Mm-hmm. And withdrew the magic wand and fired. And
Right at the beginning of the fight, Leander
Oh my
pulls
God,
out the
yeah.
wand that he looted from the doppelganger.
Oh my gosh, you have to use that thing more. It's so wonderful.
Fires it off. I roll the random ability, and it turns out it just teleported a single log from a nearby.
It'll come up. It'll come up again. It has to come up again.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh.
I love what was the joke that happened? Leander, help! I am helping. I made a tree disappear.
Oh man.
Didn't I crunch its face?
You got the finishing blow on it,
I crunched it.
and you were still in bear. Were you in bear form or wolf form?
I lost my wolf and I turned into a bear. My wolf died.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
'cause
the breath.
I dropped
it did.
down to person and
Well,
then I
no, the
was
charge
like,
scene where freaking Camden is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were in bear form. You grabbed this thing's head, crunched it, ripped it off, and then the whole thing just dissolved into snow and ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I hydrated that day.
Crunched it, ripped it off, put it right in her fucking drink.
And then all the little ones also dissolved at that point because I was a merciful god.
Yes.
So Camden jumps on bear Evathon's back, and they rush back to the house.
With both sword and shield on fire.
Yes, with both sword and shield
That
on
was
fire.
so badass. I really want to see what that looks like.
That is the moment when this huge satyr-like figure grabbed Howard, stuffed him into a bag, and disappeared into the night. Which you had seen first, Thunder.
Oh, no,
during the battle, you turned around and saw this being sitting up on the roof of another house watching you all.
How did that feel?
Good. What?
The moment when you saw death itself sitting upon the roof watching you.
I'm really glad I know what Thunder's motivations are now.
It felt good.
It felt good.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Great.
Oh no, I don't know. Being Thunder is just, I would imagine it's more like just I kill monsters for a living, but I hadn't seen that before. Yeah.
Oh, there's another really important one. Right at the beginning, we met with the family at the house, and we started to arm them.
You did start to arm them. They gave you guys some winter clothing to be able to handle the elements, particularly Thunder, who's literally half naked.
You can turn into a bear, a polar bear,
No, she can't turn into a
grizzly
polar
bear,
She can turn into a grizzly.
grizzly bear.
She can turn into a brown
I
bear.
am grizzly.
Damn, we should have wandered around until we found a polar bear.
I don't think
Well,
they're native to like this land.
Remember that it wasn't normally supposed to be snowy and icy in this part of Aeramis.
If we rolled a 20, we would have found one, damn it.
No.
That's how it works.
The white dragon that came in and started hanging out in the mountains right nearby, its natural presence created this violent snowstorm.
I
Spoilers.
probably should have seen...
That was very clearly established.
I probably should have tried
I think
to
I
see
mentioned
the
that.
dragon so I could turn into that one.
You can't turn into
can't
a
turn into
dragon
dragons.
normally. You get
Is it a monstrosity or a beast?
Dragons are neither. They're dragons.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's just a dragon. That's right. I forgot.
But you will get access to a spell that will allow you to...
Transmuted, right?
I think druids get polymorph at some point.
Yes.
I
I
know they
believe
have a
so.
spell called Shape Change, which allows them to basically use wild shape for something that they normally can't turn into with a higher challenge rating.
Like a
But
lamp.
it still has to be a beast in that regard. But,
Like a lamp with legs.
An octopus. An octopus.
octopuses don't have very high
Octopi.
CR.
Octopus already is a beast.
Yeah. And they don't have very high CR.
I love how little...
But she hasn't seen an octopus before.
No.
I guess we're gonna
I
go
don't
find
have
an
a lot of
octopus.
fish.
To the
I only have a
aquarium.
couple fish. I think I have like minnows and small fish.
So, Jen, what happens when you guys get back to the house?
We
And
fucking-
Howard's been captured by this large creature with these huge curving horns and wearing this reddish coat with white fur and carrying a big sack. And it
Camden makes the
disappears.
executive decision to make everybody fight this thing. Even the fucking drunk bitch. So...
Okay. I'm defending my actions right now.
And the children.
Yes.
So,
and we arm grandma.
so here's the deal. There is a beast coming for you and your family.
Not us.
Not us. So we stay to help defend the defendable position, which is a house with 4 walls, rather than, I don't know, let's all leave and then possibly the creature comes back and just slaughters them in their own home while we're not there to help.
Well, so at this point in the session, when you guys got back, there was a lot of shouting going on.
Yep.
Tom was screaming something took Howard. This is when
He also
you
said
guys,
something about the Jews. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think you remember that.
This is when you guys learn what you're up against.
Yes. That's when the grandmother gives us
Krampus.
story.
Krampus.
We get the Krampus story.
And
She
her
describes as the Shadow of Kringle.
in her oddly heartwarming and nostalgic story, like, oh, the spirit of Krampus, to which Leander had to interrupt at one point and go, you're aware it's been killing your family, right?
It was not a heartwarming story. She was not a heartwarming
She
at
had
all.
little heartwarming music in the background and was like, and then the true spirit of the season. and
I
he,
didn't find that heartwarming. at
Yeah,
all.
that
It
was
like,
not heartwarming.
It was like jingle jangle but dark.
Okay, so this is the difference between normal people and Lowell.
Lowell enjoys this.
Well, to Leander, it would be a heartwarming story. It's like,
Oh, Leander wants to come
Dark
up by the fire
shadows,
listening
taking
to
the
this.
children.
it talked about the holidays. It was heartwarming, damn it.
Lowell already alluded to this, but I based generally this whole session was based on the film Krampus, which came out back in the holiday season of 2015. It is a fantastic movie.
That I still haven't seen.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
I haven't seen it either.
Watch it.
Oh,
It's
the practical effects.
It's similar to like Gremlins or Trick or Treat, and in fact, it's the same director. In the sort of comedy horror sort of thing.
That's kind of neat.
Great practical, like amazing practical effects. And I just thought it was a very well done movie.
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
really good. So if you like Gremlins, you'll like Krampus.
Good enough to do a holiday special D&D.
So yeah, I'm still defending my actions about arming this
Yes.
family.
Oh, defend your
Bitch was coming for us anyway. At least they can swing for 1d6 rather than 1d4.
So we barricaded the door and stuff. Well, we listen to the story, barricade the door.
We barricaded all the wrong
Camden's
places.
pushing things around and moving tables, and then there was a table in the wrong place that I was casually chilling on because the bear can't go very far. Camden got mad because my butt was in his face.
Yeah.
It's a soft butt.
We were like, yeah, it is kind of a soft butt. I have a little tail too.
So you guys,
We armed the household.
you arm the
kids are all-
household.
Prepared for full-out
You
assault.
prepare for fighting.
Yep.
At which point you hear something heavy land on the roof.
No, before that was
Knock on the door.
the knock on the door.
No, the roof was first.
Was it?
Yeah, because the roof was first, and then you could hear him walking, and that's when Camden was like, he's coming, everyone get ready. And then you hear him land outside the front door,
Okay, yeah.
and that's when he knocks on the door. And I think I had Leander kind of just realize in the moment, like, oh shit. He's not just knocking on the door, he's doing something specific. At which point the door gets ripped open, like destroyed. The barricades in front of it get thrown off, and there's nothing there.
Damn wizards. Magic folk.
At which point I start playing the epic Krampus introductory music from the movie.
Yep, and we hear a scream.
It's a kid.
A kid.
The kid gets put in the bag because the kid's a bad kid.
Krampus used one of his abilities to teleport into the household.
And then arming the family paid off when Krampus killed a crap load of them immediately and took a bunch of children.
Grandma did pretty well, though. Grandma fainted.
Grandma did faint.
Grandma did the right thing.
You guys started wailing into him.
Yeah, it was, Thunder got the highest initiative, and because I get first go, I get assassinate, and I was able to pull off, 36 points of damage?
I don't know, it was a decent chunk of
And then it was
damage.
and then it was immediately Leander's turn, who also did his friggin' Hammer of Justice
Tactical
thing.
nuke?
What do you call it, Lowell?
I call it the tactical nuke.
As a side note, I'm fairly certain that I don't think I actually touched him. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because first you ran around the house, and then he wasn't around the house anymore, so you had to run around the other way.
And I
he
kept
teleported.
barricading Camden with my butt. He was like, I can't go over this because there's a bear here. What the fuck?
Because we friggin' barricaded the table in the exact place we really didn't need it. In between the stairs and the living room where everybody was. It was like, he's not gonna come that way. He's gonna come through the front door. And then we all have to crawl under the table.
Well, it's like he either comes through the front door, like the back door, or the chimney, or the windows. So the location of that table was basically just kind of out of the way. But guess what? It was in the way. Hindsight's 20/20.
I'm trying to imagine a bear balancing on a round table that just has a thing in the middle where it's like, I'm not sure what's going on.
Oh, poor bear.
I heard the
I
sound
feel bad
effect.
for my bear getting stuck everywhere.
But you are the bear.
I know. I feel bad for my bear form. It's always stuck in weird places.
So he got one of the kids.
He got one of the kids.
He iced the mom.
He iced the mom.
he fucking hit somebody with a horn. He cut someone in
he
half.
stabbed her through the heart, I believe.
I think.
And
didn't he cut her
decapitated
right in half,
Tom.
And he stabbed.
Oh, that's right. He decapitated Tom. That's right.
No,
No,
he
Tom
didn't.
got run through by the
Yeah,
horn.
Tom. If you've ever seen,
Well, somebody got decapitated.
no one got to. No one
Oh,
got
I know. Who
I
got
remember it
decapitated, but I'm saying
distinctly.
Does anyone else hear a ringing sound? I'm just going crazy.
Okay.
The mother got run through with like just his claws ran
Yeah.
through her heart. Tom, what happened, if you've ever seen some of those videos that what happens to bullfighters sometimes.
Oh, he ran down the stairs.
Krampus teleported to the stairs, ran down the stairs to get away from you guys, took out the mom, rushed over to Tom, and he used his horns. So if you can imagine, the tip of his horns went up through Tom's like chin, straight up through the rest of his skull.
Yeah.
That's-
He
I
picked
don't
up
like
speed
that.
as he ran down the stairs and got
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Gored him
dirty.
right through
Oh,
like the face.
that was
basically.
rough.
I could see James like not wanting to look at you. He was like,
And then
We dropped a ton of damage.
and then in the next turn, Camden ran up.
Camden came around the corner, and I got killing blow.
Yep.
yeah.
So the way it went down was so Camden rushes up, takes out his leg,
Yep.
and
Sweeps
as
his leg.
as
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah.
well, so like right at the knee. So as he's falling, Camden brings the sword up and straight up and decapitates him.
That's
Someone
the
did
yes.
get
That's where the
decapitated.
That's the
decapitation came from.
decapitation.
As your sword was cleaving through his neck, his body dissolved into ice and snow. Tom and Sarah's bodies, the mom and the dad, disappeared in the small flurry that kind of blew over at the location because they were all right there next to him. His coat fell. His bag fell. Completely empty, like Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 4 style.
Dude, spoilers.
As Krampus became one with the Force.
Krampus became one with the Force. And
We've beaten him. No, he's become more powerful than you could ever
and
imagine.
a single dark object fell on top of all his clothing.
And Talia wants it.
Yeah, that's right. Talia, that
Oh
was
yeah,
like the
the
first thing she
Krampus jingle
did.
balls.
Yep.
Yes,
Krampus's
the
jingle balls.
object ends up being a small bronze bell with the words Gruß vom Krampus on it. What's the word I'm looking for? Little tidbit in my world, the language of Infernal, which is the language of devils and used in the Nine Hells, is similar to German.
Oh, I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing in my game.
You know what? You know what's? Oh,
that
in my
kind
games
of
I use German for Draconic.
Yes, you do. Mine uses like Scandinavian with a touch of like that whole region of the world.
Or I go for Infernal. I go a little more like Black Speech from Lord of the Rings kind of thing.
Yeah.
I go French for Sylvan.
Same.
French for Sylvan.
Oh, you see, I do French for
French
Elvish.
For Elvish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like French for Elvish.
To the
Sylvan
think
and Elvish
English.
are very similar. So
I think
it's-
more Italian when I think Elvish.
I literally anytime you guys hear me speak anything in Elvish, I literally ripped off Quenya or Cinderin. Depending on.
Whereas like Dwarvish is pretty much got to be like Icelandic, or Gaelic.
Gaelic.
Let's see.
Talia takes the bell.
Talia takes the bell,
And then we
which
go to
I
the
will
bag.
reveal to you guys now. That is a bell of ice elemental control.
What?
And it basically allows you to summon an ice elemental once
Like
per
the
day.
one we were
Hey,
fighting.
Once,
So bad.
not the same thing you guys fought.
Because it almost killed us, we should summon that ice elemental and then beat the shit out of it.
Just in the middle of a warm day.
But just once. We just want to summon the big one once.
yeah,
Like
seriously.
cooking an egg on the sidewalk.
It's not going to be the same one. It's the same size category. It's large. It's going to be this same model.
Can it be the same guy, but he comes back and he's just like, we're friends now. But now I'm stupid because you hit me so hard.
Oh my god, he got brain damage.
He's gonna what you guys will be able to summon is going to be more in line with what the fire, water, earth, and air elementals are in the monster manual.
Okay.
What you guys fought is actually a derived. What it was, I modified the Abominable Yeti
Neat.
for that fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Didn't somebody call that we
'Cause-
were going to find a Yeti?
Because trust me, if you had actually fought the Abominable Yeti as he stands in the you all would have been dead.
we came close.
Yeah, we were kind of almost
No, but
already
you would
dead
have
to
been dead 5 times over.
Like dead. Like really dead.
Like, super dead.
You guys are very fortunate to not get its breath weapon
Did you
back.
paint any of this?
No.
Oh
that's
no!
just-
Yeah,
this?
for sure. That was awful.
Oh my god, the ice one. Oh, the
that
breath.
ice
Oh,
breath
Jesus.
took you guys down hard.
I don't know if we were getting to this, but we also forgot to mention that the family came through the code.
Yes, when Camden went over to kind of, Darth Vader inspect the clothing, a single hand reached up, out through the clothes and through the bag, and he pulled up Beth. And then they pulled up Howard and the kid and Sarah and Tom, who were still alive.
And then we did cutesy stuff. I made a wreath.
You did. You made a wreath for the family, and then the most disgusting thing ever happened, where you all started talking about love and friendship.
And we can't. That's the audio that I am really sad that we don't have.
Yeah.
Because our party has a lot of bonding moments, but that was like Bloods and Crips here.
Oh yeah, no, this is when Leander interrupted and was like, you guys understand that this was like a horrifying, traumatic experience, right? You should all be traumatized forever. How dare you look at what just happened with nostalgia and lightheartedness?
Oh, it wasn't a matter of nostalgia and lightheartedness. For those who don't know the Krampus legend, he comes from Germany and Armenia and that part of the world. And, in the same way that Santa is supposed to come and bring gifts to the good boys and girls who were well behaved throughout the year, Krampus's job is the direct opposite. He comes not to give, but to punish and to take. And if you lose your sense of Christmas spirit, if you forget what it means to be a family and to care for each other and love each other, Krampus will come to punish you and yours. Which is why he was there in the first place, because the family was not getting well along. Even though it wasn't Yule.
Mm-hmm.
And Leander figured this out himself.
Does anybody remember what Thunder said to the family? And during the gross deception moment?
I remember what I said. I don't remember what you said.
I said, now we've all been through some really, really tough times, and now that this is over, you assholes better go and eat at Pizzastro's Pizza.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
And they all kind of looked at you like, what?
And then they were like, well, thank you for saving us. And Leander had to be like, well, you're not saved. There's still an ice dragon. Bye.
That's right.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
I remember Camden approached Tom and we spoke just briefly, and Camden mentioned a little bit about his backstory of not having a family growing up and the Order kind of being his only family, and basically said, look, you've got a lot more than most.
He tried to pay you because he realized you were a blood hunter, and blood hunters don't work for free. Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't take it.
Whoa, really?
And at the very beginning, he had a really shitty hand crossbow, so Camden lent him basically my heavy crossbow.
You gave him your heavy crossbow that you never use.
And at the end, he tried to offer it back, and Camden basically said, look, I bought this thing to, at the beginning of my blood hunting career to help people. It's going to do the job I bought it for in your hands, too. Hang on to it. You're not out of the hot water yet. And I think that's when Leander delivered the line, oh yeah, that dragon!
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Talia said something really nice.
Talia did.
And she's not fucking here.
Not.
She said the cutest thing of all. She, made us family. I love it. It made me start crying, and I'm not even kidding. I was crying during
Nova
D&D.
found the eggnog.
Eggnog.
Did somebody else, James, you think like her, what did she say?
Talia mentioned about how we're a ragtag group. Some of us here have had upbringings with family, like Thunder. Some of us here have homes to go back to, like Camden. And some of us here don't have anything. But what we do have is each other. And the family that we saved from Krampus had a lot more than they were, I guess, appreciating. But on the flip side of that, she kind of turned to the group and mentioned, but what we've created, the bunch of us, is our own family. And it was something along those lines.
Yeah, it was pretty much that.
And her face, I'm going to comment on, sitting across the table from her. Her face turned red and I started crying. I was like, I really hope nobody notices.
It would have been such a perfect, holiday message to end the holiday special, and Fuck you, computer.
Literally, technology ruins everything, I feel like.
I think like the best message we left on was all of us joking that we weren't going to remember except for Leander and fucking with the group. Like, wait a second. Like the wizard comes back. He's like, "Did you do what you were supposed to do?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, Bucko." And he's like, "I'm going to take you back." He's like, "Will we remember this?" He's like, "No." And we all joked like, "Oh, Camden takes off his gauntlets and shows everyone his burnt hands, flipping them off." Talia kisses Camden. Like
the BSW, as I call him, the
God.
benevolent space wizard. Yep, showed up.
Or
And
as,
was like,
he's the space jury.
Good job,
space
guys.
jury duty.
And then Leander, what's your reason why you don't forget him?
Because Leander's mask is designed to save memories. Leander is pretty old, and so his mask helps him sort of retain information because it's basically a headband of intellect. So the idea is that every time he forgets the space wizard, the mask immediately reminds him of it because it saves the memory.
Oh, I need one of those.
and yeah, because the space wizard has the same ability that the Silence have from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait, who?
What?
What? What are those marks doing on your arm?
And yeah, no, he told you good work. You guys asked him a little bit about the dragon. He said, the dragon moved in because of a conflict with another dragon.
They were roommates.
But
He didn't fill the Brita.
but the family is taking
drank all my milk.
the blizzard died down, so the family is taking the opportunity now to finally leave.
Did we tell him where to go? Did we be like, "Hey bitches, you're here. Go north."
No, you guys aren't actually sure exactly where they were. You just told them to get somewhere else. Because the effect that a white dragon's blizzard has on the world is only so big, so you can get out of range of it.
Right.
They were just stubborn, which is why they didn't leave in the first place. Because you know how lots of people are always like, I'm not leaving my home. Even though
It's a class 5 hurricane.
Yeah,
5 is a low number. I have that many fingers on one hand. It's like, no, that means the winds are going to kill you. But okay.
There's always people who don't leave when they should. You ran into them. And yeah, you guys got teleported back to the inn, as though no time had passed.
Yep.
And I established that you won't remember specific things about how you came to be there. Like, if you remember everything that happened. You will wake up, you'll remember, oh yeah, we fought an ice elemental and we saved the family from Krampus and blah, blah, blah. But if your mind ever starts to wander to, when was that? How did we get there? Your brain won't do it. It'll just whatever. It's not important. I just remember it happened.
That will be hilarious.
Question to the DM.
Yeah.
Will we ever see these characters again?
Perhaps. Perhaps so.
Yeah, sure. If you put in the DVD Krampus.
Go watch the movie Krampus.
No, seriously, do. Oh, it's so good. I think the last note we left off on was Talia rolling over and waking up and opening her eyes, and on the bedstand was the bell. And then the song from the Grinch played.
You know, be horrible if we finally had this moment of we're all a family, and then next session we just start dying.
No.
Well, we
That's why
kind of did that a little
Well,
bit.
you know how you watch a movie or a TV series or something, and then they have that sweet little heartwarming episode where it's we're all a family, and then the very next episode of the series, that's when the Fire Lord will show up or something, and now we suddenly start to lose main characters.
The Fire Lord.
I'm so excited for the continuation of the story.
Oh, I know. Seriously.
Same.
I'm so glad you guys let me come.
Oh,
on the show.
we missed one thing
happy.
that happened that was really important to someone's character development. Do you remember, Lowell?
I think
I can hear him typing. He's checking his notes.
Use that mask of intellect.
Leander did a thing. I remember.
Leander did do a thing.
Oh, yeah. Leander was pretty much gonna take a final stand against the ice monster.
To give the party time to run.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
Ended up not being necessary.
Yeah. He basically said, hey, get out of here, and then charged his nuke up. And for anyone that's unfamiliar with the nuke from previous episodes, that's where I combine about 3 of my abilities in a daily and just slam it into somebody for a massive chunk of damage. Like, I can if somebody were to swing that at me, I would be auto-killed.
Why was it not necessary again?
It just didn't end up going that way. You guys did first and foremost. You guys did not run. You guys stayed. Secondly, he continued to last another turn or two before he got knocked out, and you guys still decided to stay.
Camden tried to issue a to fall back to try and get like some cover inside the building,
and the NPCs were trying to tell you guys we had to run. We'll be safe at the house. We need to run because we could try to defend the house, but we can't stay here in the middle of the street in the middle of a blizzard.
But we did anyway.
But you did anyway.
Thunder got frozen.
Thunder. Oh no, I got.
Well, I think the idea why we didn't retreat is because the way we were positioned is that if we tried to retreat, a couple people would have been stuck. Like Leander and Thunder would not have been able to get out if we ran for it.
These are peasants. These are like farmers, and
they didn't like that term.
They did not.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Leander called them peasants, and they didn't like that.
Well, they were just offended that he wasn't referring to them by name when he told them their names.
I booped Camden.
Well, Leander was using the informal high elven, which is basically when you refer to somebody by occupation.
Right.
I booped you.
You did boop
and
me.
You lost your toy.
What?
You guys both lost.
You dropped your sword for a little while, but you got it back.
Oh, that was gonna be the most.
And you picked up Leander's hammer.
No. So what was gonna happen was Camden went down, and he had Comet Fell in one hand and his Captain America shield in the other, and he went down, and Ava ran over to him, grabbed him, and pulled him back and healed him. And so when Camden walked back into the fray, he dropped his shield and went to go basically pick up Leander's hammer.
Because Leander had fallen.
Because Leander had gone down.
And I
was going to.
I can't pick them both up.
Right. So I was going to boost the hammer with one of my abilities and use it two-handed. And it just didn't work out that way. I think something happened where Leander got up before I got there.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically.
I picked up Comet Fell and I just wielded that two-handed. Whatever happened.
Yeah.
I booped you guys.
You did.
I booped.
Did you guys like the snowscape I had and everything?
Oh, it was awesome. Where'd you get that? What was a part of it?
So I use, for anyone at home, for 4th edition, Wizards of the Coast put out these dungeon tiles.
I have 2 of them. I have the Wilderness and I have Dungeon. I have City.
You can get Wilderness, you can get City, you can get... they have one for a bog of some kind.
They have
cave? A cave, like a dungeon sort of thing. They have a couple of different ones, and so I've had those since 4th edition. And
the Pathfinder ones are really nice too.
The Pathfinder ones are also nice, and they're interchangeable too, which is good.
Because it's squares.
I mean, is this a Pathfinder figure?
I believe that one is.
No, this is a Wizard's figure.
A
couple of the figures I have are Pathfinder. This one's Pathfinder.
Oh wow. What is that?
This is a large water elemental. Jen will be able to turn into this at level 10.
What?
I assume our viewers at home are as riveted by seeing it as I am.
Good. You can Google it.
I love Pathfinder.
Do you want me to throw up the? Do you want me to turn on the thing, Lowell, and show you?
No. Let's move on.
No, it might ruin the recording again.
Just as a side note, Pathfinder was the first one that I ever played, and it's my favorite.
Actually, Star Wars Saga was the first game I ever played D&D style.
Actually, I want you to know how annoyed I am with Wizards. This is their large air elemental, right? Okay? It's on a large base. This is a large ice elemental that, from the past. This is their large water elemental.
Huh. That thing's small.
It's medium. That's a medium-sized thing.
Yeah.
It's even on a medium base.
Okay, clearly one of them's compensating.
So then I grabbed the Pathfinder large water elemental, which is
much better.
Huge.
Those are different. Anyway,
tweet that. Tweet them next to each other.
Let's chat.
So let's. I guess we get to talk about the game as a whole.
Yeah, let's talk about the game as a whole.
I'm having a fucking blast.
Good. How about you, Andrew? You came in later than everyone else.
Yeah.
You started off listening, and then you were Jeff, please.
Yes,
please.
I was hungry for some role playing, especially
dick.
because and Jeff was kind enough to let me come on as a guest appearance, and then I just never left.
Because you're more famous than the rest of us.
He actually doesn't go home. He's been
I've
here
just
since
been
that
here
episode.
I just never leave. I'm always up in this loft, in the studio loft.
But yeah, we have officially taken. We're going to officially take Andrew on. Yes. We'll adopt him and give him a home.
You'll get the paperwork.
Everybody seemed to like Thunder, so
Yeah.
Thunder brings some good feeling to the party.
He does.
I think
A lot of positivity in the party.
positivity. Yes.
I've been having
Camden
fun.
and Leander getting annoyed.
Yeah, no, I've been having fun because it's really interesting. I feel like there's been some really great character development. I feel like the people's backgrounds have been coming out at a good pace. It hasn't just been a dump of information. Like some things are still a secret. Some things aren't a secret to viewers, but they're still a secret to like different characters.
see, that's what I really like about this game. That I really wish I'm playing in my campaign. I'm playing with a bunch of new people, so their backstories don't hold a lot of secrets, and they have a lot of goals in mind. So I can help them reach their goals, but the secrets that they keep from one another are not as big as they could be. And like that's the one thing I'm really missing because they kind of know about each other now. Like there's no secret that they're keeping to like hide each other's darkness and backgrounds. And stuff.
Right.
So that's what I really like about this. I still don't know about half the characters.
Yeah, and I feel like there's really good relationships. Like when we first started the game, it was kind of very clear that we had almost like a two-group relationship. It was, Camden and Leander.
Yeah, it was
and
the boys
Talia
and the girls.
Evathon. Evathon, sorry.
No, say it however you want. I think he's cute.
Alrighty then. And it's still kind of that way, but I don't know. I feel like there's more kind of cross mingling between the groups.
I think Thunder helps that a little bit.
Yeah.
he's
I think
he's
so,
the
too.
fifth wheel, and he gets everyone kind of chatting and talking and.
Leander, what do you think?
Yes.
Good.
Good input.
It's funny because even though locally we're all friends, the characters are not.
Yeah.
And the more you play as your characters with one another, the more actual kind of relationships build. Like kind of even over the Christmas episode, how just even a little bit of a hint, like, oh, Leander may like Thunder a little bit more now, or at least just have some respect for him because he's stuck around.
Leander would have expected Thunder to leave him to die, and then he didn't, and that legitimately surprised Leander. Because that's just not something that would normally be on his own radar. And so he respects that it happened and was like, okay, I like that Thunder didn't abandon me.
And it's interesting, too, because we talked about this, I think, I don't remember if it was after that session or after session 15, when we were talking about how, in actuality, Thunder's been with the party for less than 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because we don't play very often, unfortunately. We're not able to get together as often as we'd like. And the amount of time that has passed since the four of you originally first went into Fairweir to take on that Manticore contract, and the current morning in game has been something like 4 or 5 days. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's been a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Yep.
It's been about 4 days since you guys went into the mines, found the Black King's dungeon, and escaped.
It is really weird because it would have seemed like Thunder showed up after months of these guys knowing each other. But it was actually like, oh, well, 1 week we found each other, and then the next week we found Thunder.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Which I feel like helps also because,
One game we've been together for a while, haven't we?
You in game, you guys were together for a couple of weeks before the game started.
we met fighting an ogre.
Yeah, a troll. I kind of regret skipping over all of that and starting you guys off like as I did. I wanted to avoid the awkwardness of no one knowing each other and
The first party.
I do
sessions.
remember that. Like when I first started listening to the show, it was really. It was interesting because it was always like the adventure of, so you guys just got off the troll battle, And I was kind of like, oh, I really wish I could have heard the troll battle.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
nothing
to
that
be
ever
fair-
happened. We never had a session with the troll battle.
Okay.
And actually had that for. It's not like we started recording after the first session.
Yeah.
It was my.
It's like
What's that?
It's like the cow level in Diablo. Everyone talks about it, but it didn't occur.
My thought is that maybe at some point in the future we could do a flashback episode.
We could,
Maybe,
but I don't know.
I don't know if that would be stupid.
I
but-
feel like the toughest part about the beginning of the game was the fact that we were trying to get past the awkward of not knowing each other, but it still kind of happened anyway.
Well, it's going to. But my logic was, we all already know each other in real life.
Fair.
So by kind of starting you guys off at the point where you have known each other in game for a couple of weeks, I think it removed where you had to not only act like you don't know each other at all.
Right, and have that fake hostility thing where, Leander has to sit there and, accuse people of possibly doing awful things and possibly being right. And...
Yeah, we avoid the whole you have to be hostile for a little bit because you just met each other situation.
Yeah.
You're still getting to know each other. You've only been together for like a couple of weeks. You've been traveling companions for a little while. Basically.
Camden and Ava have a lot of tension with each other. Like,
Sexual?
often. No, not even.
They do?
We have different... I think it's really interesting because a lot of times, like, Camden has what his goals and his upbringing and what his thoughts are that's the right thing to do. And Ava's sometimes are the opposite. And there's been sessions from the get-go. I think it was like the Burning Forest was the first argument we had. And
yeah.
And I didn't know how to play my character. I was like, I don't know what you... So I'm sitting there like, fucking James. And then I apologized to him after being like, I'm sorry we fought during D&D. And he was like, you're supposed to argue with me about that. And so from there, like, that was kind of... me figuring out how to play her, and from that time on, there's been tensions about what Camden and Ava feel, but I don't apologize to you anymore.
Good.
Rude.
See, here's the thing. I really wish Victoria was here because Victoria and Jen are our two new players.
Yes, they've never played. Jen has some Pathfinder experience, but as I understand it, it's not role-playing stuff you did.
It was
like,
role-playing,
arena
however...
sort of stuff.
The stuff at Bridgewater really turned me off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
We're not going to go into detail.
But there was stuff at Bridgewater that really turned me off, and just like WoW, I got out of the habit of doing things. And so for me, and like, I was in high school and basically a child, so role-playing as a kid was a lot easier than doing it as a 25-year-old. One thing that I think is kind of cool is that Victoria and I hadn't been playing together in the same room. So we had this, like, awkward relationship until she actually moved here, where we would talk about Ava and Talia, but then we'd be like, well, she can't see me, so she doesn't know what my character would be doing, because my character's an animal.
Holy shit, that's right. I completely forgot we started this game with Lowell and Victoria
was
in Florida.
originally with
If
Lowell
my
in
character's
Florida,
an animal, I can't communicate with her. Like, I'm not going to grumble at the mic. I'm just not going to do that. That's just not
Do it.
happening. guys.
Do it.
But it's interesting because, like, we would always try to work out this relationship because they're supposed to be, like, best friends. And until she moved here, we had no understanding of how my character especially was supposed to communicate with her. I could communicate with her in human form if she was having a problem talking to me, and even that sometimes seemed rocky. But until she was here, we started Facebook messaging each other, and, like, I would tell her, like, in a couple of minutes something's gonna happen or whatever, and I'm gonna do this, and she would already be aware and be able to tell what my character was thinking and say, oh, she's doing that, she's not happy with you right now.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know that.
She's also supposed to understand that I'm a wild child and I do not understand, like, social norms. I do actually have, like, things on, so I'm not just running around my genitals hanging out, but...
Well, I mean, you have to
Yes,
think
you
too.
do wear clothes.
Victoria's character's a reindeer, too, so it, like, makes sense that she'd, like, understand the
She'd
actions...
find the forest dweller.
of
Well,
an
yeah, or
animal.
she'd understand the actions of her being a wolf, like, right?
Especially
She also essentially knows my backstory, and she's the only person that does, I would assume.
And you know her back. I believe you know her
I know
backstory,
hers,
right?
and she knows mine, and
You
we
two
think
talked a lot.
that they're connected.
And Leander knows Camden's now.
Yeah, exactly. That's another interesting thing. The whole, Jen having a relationship with Victoria and their characters talking and being best friends, being new players, and then Lowell and my connection as veteran players and knowing each other as very good, like, best friends.
Right.
So that's like a complete...
Camden and Leander as best friends.
No. I'm saying...
He's talking about that.
I'm saying Lowell and myself being best friends.
They are worst best friends.
Contrast to Jen and Victoria not really knowing each other. And then, but they're trying to go for the same dynamic of best friend, and best friend.
That's what I feel like that's what we were trying to do, and it was really interesting because Victoria and I did not really know each other. I think I met her a couple of times before we moved in together. And honestly, like, it was tough because we would message each other and I would kind of be like, I don't know what you want to... Like, it was really kind of weird, especially when we did the long distance thing. And when she moved here, like... It took a little bit, but we clicked our characters, and honestly, like, I think our characters are a good representation of our actual relationship, that we're really close with each other now. And I think it's really funny because we, like, Jeff and I would talk after sessions, and I'd be like, I feel like I didn't do anything today, and I'm, like, really struggling to make my character work with the rest of the party. And it was something, like, you guys would coach me on how to do this, and, like, try to teach me how to play, and I'd be like, no, I just can't piece it together. And I think... But I think her moving here made it possible for me to actually communicate with someone else.
Yeah.
Because I think with just me, James, and you, I would have to communicate with Camden, and their dynamic does not work. They don't hate each other. I would hope they don't, but they don't not understand each other.
we really don't because
I saved your fucking ass.
Well, yeah, you're all about like the
And you're throwing
preservation
on
of
my back.
things, and Camden doesn't really care. He's means to an end, but. That even going so far as like, the whole relationship thing, like Lowell and I in session 1, we immediately clicked with our characters of how we operate as a unit. Camden walks in and he tries to, do things rationally. And if they get resistance, he lets Leander off the leash. And we immediately worked that out and like in real time almost in that episode. And that just kind of goes to show the real difference between... two newer players,
right,
and two, characters trying to be buddy-buddy, and two veteran players who know each other personally trying to be buddy-buddy with their characters session 1. And it was really interesting to watch.
That dynamic was interesting, too, because, like, we would try to replicate what you guys would do, but we don't have the same background that you do. I have Pathfinder, which is way different.
Right.
And it was interesting, because, like, I've gone back and listened to the first couple of episodes and been like, wow, I was a really shitty player. I'm sitting there and sitting there
The first couple of episodes were rough in a lot of ways.
Very true.
They definitely were.
Just somebody sitting here listening to this, like, everything everybody's saying right now is just fascinating. Like, this is amazing. I love this. Like, it's awesome.
I didn't know any of these things.
The first couple of episodes, like, if I go back and listen to them, like, I'm sitting there trying to do math while everybody else is role-playing. Like, that's just how that goes. And now, like, I'm still trying to do math.
Like a Pathfinder player.
But,
I'm going to change your staff, by the way.
okay.
So that it's still the same effect, but I'm no longer going to have you roll a die every time. I'll give you an updated thing, but from now on, just when you attack, that is the roll. If you roll a natural 1 on your attack, that's when the wild magic happens.
Okay. That's actually better, because then I don't have to sit there and try to figure out what I need to do.
It'll flow a little better.
So that whole thing was interesting, but also, like, looking at, like, I think we had a good learning experience looking at 2 veteran players play with their DM friend, and we were trying to figure out how to make it work, and I do think that her moving here not only made a big difference, but also just the amount of times that we've played. Like, we did a couple of sessions that were, like, one-shots so that I could figure out how the fuck things work.
Practice sessions, yeah.
But then, like, also listening to other podcasts and kind of reading through these books and trying to figure things out, and the subreddit, and I think... Like, for me personally, it opened up a world of hobbies, and everybody in this room should probably know, and Cole, that I have a problem with keeping track of my hobbies. So that was, like, a big thing for me, and I think especially, like, my relationship with Victoria and Ava's relationship with Talia has been this really cool thing to just see unwind and come together at the same time.
I just remembered, you guys, I did that little thing where, like, Ava and Camden went to go get firewood.
Yep.
And you guys ran into those giant spiders and then the talking trees.
Mm-hmm. You guys, like, taught me how to roleplay properly. It didn't really work right away, but it helped.
Which I think, like, in my headcanon, that little, like, 30 minutes of just, showing Jen how the system works is canon. Like, one of the days when you guys... stopped in that enchanted wood when you guys were in the Elven Forest, the Weld.
Yep.
You two went off to get firewood together, and then had like a small encounter, and then came back, and There was no big things.
A kind of fun thing for me too is like I'm playing a wild child, which I'm a professional,
Which makes it
person.
easier for you too.
I'm a professional person 5 days a week, so playing a wild child in a game is like really entertaining because I get to belch a lot and do whatever the fuck I want.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Like, it's
Right,
interesting to be able to switch a role and be like, I don't have to not swear because I'm not at work anymore. Now I can fucking say whatever I
And
want.
Lowell gets to,
belch.
go from a job where he has to be nice to people to a job where he gets to, hurt
Kill
people.
everybody.
I really enjoyed
That's initially why I started playing an evil character. By the way, I remember Jeff last New Year's. I wasn't quite in my new job yet, but I got home from work and I had just been shouted at by maybe 20,000 people that I had to respond to with a happy little smile on my face. And then Jeff was like, "Oh, we're gonna start a new D&D game. Why don't you create a character?" And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play evil. Because I am in such an awful mood that I just want to cause as much havoc and destruction as possible. Not to like ruin the game, but if I get an opportunity where like somebody is bad mouthing me like they would in real life, I want to just be able to crack them with a hammer.
Nice.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, no, it makes sense,
Leander is a very interesting dynamic, because Leander is a good example of evil does not mean run around and murder children.
Yes,
Does not
yes,
mean
yes, yes,
chaotic
yes.
stupid.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Chaotic stupid. That's awesome. I love it.
You've never heard chaotic
Yeah,
stupid?
you ever heard chaotic stupid?
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Leander's an evil character, but it's more about his methodology than than what he does.
Yes.
Where a normal person might try and persuade the shopkeeper to help them. Leander might, draw a dagger and hold it to their throat.
Right. And then you have an example of, we've got, I think everyone in this party is chaotic, basically.
Yes.
I
I'm
think
chaotic
so.
good.
I assume that Talia is chaotic.
I'm straight. I'm neutral good.
Okay, so we've got a neutral
neutral
good. Okay, so, and then, you get characters like Talia, who's willing to basically, lie and cheat to get stuff.
Are you good?
Camden is chaotic good.
Okay.
Camden tries to do good in the world, but he understands that concessions must be made.
I would have
His
thought.
eyes look weird. That's
Yeah.
why.
He's very greater good. Like, for example, when they were running from the spiders in one of the earlier episodes, Camden had no problem lighting that place on fire in order to kill all these enemies and to save the party. So that was his whole plan.
I would have thought Camden would be either dead neutral or chaotic neutral.
It's really interesting. I was considering that at the very beginning, but Camden does have a goal to do good.
It's actually very flavorful that you would think that, because Camden is a blood hunter, which, Matthew Mercer, the DM for Critical Role, is the one who built the blood hunter class. And I personally, because he worked with Mike Merles and Jeremy Crawford and some of the people at Wizards to make the class balanced, it's the closest thing we'll ever get to like official homebrew. And so I consider it part of the game at this point. Like, blood hunter is one of the core classes as far as I'm concerned. And
Woo, I'm canon!
I originally approached James and said, James, I have this class that Matt Mercer made, and we're going to run that D&D game.
Why did you ask me to do that, Jeff? Because I always play.
Yeah, because you always play a fighter.
Do you really?
I like
He
hitting
always
things.
plays
I like
fighters.
hitting things with swords.
Well, Jonathan plays a fight. But Jonathan's my brother, by the way. He was gonna try to play with us, but
Yeah.
he couldn't make it. But Jonathan plays the fighter as well.
Yeah,
He loves the fighter.
but even like when James got a hold of the class, he's like, "Yeah, this looks cool," and then he completely glossed over the fact that he can't wear heavy armor. He completely glossed over the fact that he's not allowed to use a shield.
Yeah.
Well,
I threw a feat at that.
you
so I'm
threw a
good.
feat to get
Yeah,
the
well,
shield.
see, yeah,
yes.
well, see, here's the thing, because I have a barbarian in my campaign, and barbarians can't wear heavy armor. But
They don't
he
wear
has,
armor at all.
But he has the feat of heavy armor.
That's such a
And-
waste for a That's such a waste for a barbarian.
Why?
They get really good armor as part of their
Yeah,
class features.
they-
Well,
And they only get those armor bonuses if they're not wearing armor.
Right.
So by putting on armor, you actually lose AC.
I house rule some stuff. I'm not getting
Yeah,
so.
that's fine. House rule's
Fair.
fine. We house rule in this game. But the original point I was getting to, it's interesting that it's very flavorful that you felt that way about Camden, because as a blood hunter, when Matt Mercer was building this class, there was a whole thing about Vin Diesel's movie, The Last Witch Hunter.
Right,
I
right,
love
yeah.
that movie.
And Matt Mercer is is a huge fan of the Witcher series.
Yep.
And though I've only played through 3, and I haven't even finished 3, I also love the series.
You'll never finish 3.
I'll finish it eventually. I love the flavor. I love Geralt. I love everything.
Oh!
Big Bad Shadow Man had me as a friend on Xbox.
Hey! Shout out!
Wow, during the recording. What do you know?
That was funny.
Witcher
So
3.
yeah, Blood Hunters are based. A lot of what the Blood Hunter class is based off of what Witchers are.
Yeah.
And Witchers, as Blood Hunters are, because I kind of based Blood Hunters around the whole Witcher theme, is that they're not trusted by people. You know, they're seen as, if not evil, somewhere on the border of it. You know, a Witcher will walk into a town and they'll kill the monster that's been plaguing the populace, but they want coin for it. And maybe they themselves, you know, aren't all there, or they're not like one of the contacts that Leander and Camden was talking to, you know, made some suggestions that a handful of the people who know about what happened at Elcott, there's been some whisperings. Maybe the Blood Hunters are involved. Not as a sort of, oh, I bet the Blood Hunters are trying to kill everyone, but because they're so distrusted, there's that level of, we don't know what they do, we don't know what they are, we don't know what their angle is. And so I find it interesting that Camden is good at heart. His methods can be extreme, but he's a good person at heart.
Yeah.
But even you thought he was leaning more towards the neutral side.
Yeah.
I just find that very flavorful.
Indeed.
Like, to the point where he didn't even care about people, which I really like. Like, at the very beginning of the game, I was trying to play Camden a lot differently. I was trying to play Camden a little bit more of just like, you know, hey, yeah, I've got this bad thing about me, but don't worry, I'm here to do good, and I'm going to give people a chance. And then,
which is my Blood Hunter, Pietros in Curse of Strahd. That's kind of how he sort of tries to approach the world.
And it did not work for me, and I did not like it, so I actually very quickly kind of changed him up.
Well, unfortunately, you had the devil on your shoulder and standing at your side wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That is very true. Leander is a very interesting influence on Camden and other members of the party. Very early on, Camden got his hooks into Talia. And
Leander got his hooks into Talia.
What did I say?
Camden.
Leander got his hooks into Talia.
Freudian slip.
You got other things into Talia.
And she's going to listen to this and then she's going to hit me.
No, that's you. You're a cat.
That sounds about right.
And basically pushed her and influenced her to basically, you know, do some lying and cheating. What was it? Was she was talking about snipping off the fingers of the person who was logging?
Yeah.
And Leander was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it might have involved Nova somehow when she was threatening the guy that had been logging the forest.
Yes.
And Leander was like, I approve of your nastiness right in this moment.
Nasty girl.
Well, she was like, I feel bad that I threatened that guy with violence. And Leander was like, no, that's natural when shit's going down. He's like, that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh, good stuff.
It's interesting to see like how Camden has changed because Camden has been very, very different. Like very I almost want to say sometimes lucid or at least dark, where he'll just say something and you're like, wow, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
And like he intends to be good to people, but at the same time, like you hear him talk about something that he's annoyed or angry about, and you're like, dude.
I found it interesting when you guys were able to kill all the basilisks and were discussing how best to get Reyna back to civilization. Leander mentioned that he was going to potentially suggest just like breaking her limbs off and making her easier to carry. And then you could mend her afterwards. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he assumed that no one would be okay with that. And then Camden was like, oh, that's actually a good idea. And Leander was like, yeah, it is a good idea. And then it was either Talia or Ava who was like, we're not doing that.
I don't know that I was talking, because I think I've already decided to carry that person.
Yeah, you were already
talking
in bear form.
You might have been in bear form
The
already,
only talking that I do is stomping. Because I like stomping as
animals. As far as I play him, Camden tries to take control when he feels that someone who isn't able to basically carry out this action is currently in control. So when we were doing the dungeon and we had that puzzle, Camden immediately took control when he realized he had the information available. But when he doesn't, he tends to kind of sit back.
Which puzzle? The water puzzle?
The water
room?
puzzle, yes. And then
I'm still sad about that room.
And I mean, like, for the winter special...
I had stuff planned.
Did you? Oh.
But you guys did great. You guys figured out what to do, and you navigated through it, like, flawlessly, and did not do any of the things that I was, like...
None of the bad stuff.
Boy, if they do this, ha 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 ha
Yep.
ha ha.
See, Jeff says this almost after every session, and there's this picture of, like, a dragon running a game, and all the characters, like, he's describing something, and someone's like, I have to pee. I'm wearing this for clothes.
Yes,
Can I eat
I've seen
this?
that. Yeah,
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
they're all talking about something
I
different.
punch Sir
Yeah.
something.
And they're all doing, like, different
there
things, and the DM
prostitutes?
continues to try to lead them in the correct direction to do something, and they're all just like, I have to pee. I ate this.
No, you guys don't. You guys aren't like that. You guys are a good group.
We'll have fun, but
Yeah, and
But
if
we'll
you guys
just do
splurge,
things-
if you splurge off from what I assumed you would do, that's fine. I'll run.
We
with
just
it,
always
you know?
do things that you don't intend for us to do, and then you're like, oh, you missed this. And we're like after we talk about it, and like, I'll talk to you about
Like
it,
you-
and you'll just be like, oh yeah, I had this thing planned, but you guys
You know,
went a
that's
different way.
Yeah.
And
that's part of DMing.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes the
It
players
really is.
figure something out, and you have to throw a whole chunk of story out the window.
Yep.
Here,
I have had to do emergency repairs on my own games all the
Yeah.
time, and then I've had to do it while narrating to pretend that it was my plan all along.
I'm actually, if you don't mind, I'd like to tell a story from one of my campaigns.
Yeah, I guess.
So I was building this story where they finally meet the main bad guy of the whole series that I'm going for, and he bamps out of the room. He goes into the back room. They have a fight, whatever, and then they go and get into the room, and there's a portal in there, but it's like a pool. A pool of water.
Yeah.
And the entire time I was writing it, I was just like, how the hell am I going to try to get one of them to jump into that pool? Like, to go through the portal. So I had to write this whole optional scene, this whole thing of how it was going to happen. And I was basically made it, when they look into the pool, they see something that they either really hate or, like, that they're looking for or something. And I was just like, but there's no way that anybody's just going to be like, well, let's try going into it because the bad guy's on the other side. Well, our resident wizard, who doesn't like to be in any fights or anything like that, looks in and he sees the black dragon that he's always, and then immediately he just goes, I'm jumping in. I was like, and me as the DM, I recorded my sessions, you just hear me go, you do? I was like, what?
Yeah, that's great. I get
so
to use
happy
this
for you.
$50 figure I bought.
Yeah, so.
One thing that I've thought that's really cool is just, like, in the last couple of sessions, I've noticed how more fluid things have been between Jeff being a DM and our party kind of I don't even know so much if it's just us being more patient with each other or us just learning how each other play.
You're falling into the groove.
it's honestly, I feel like it's more of that. Like, you understand how we as players interact with each other, and you also understand how our characters react to what you have to say. So there'll be you'll see a lot more trigger phrases being said. Like, someone will talk to, say, Talia after a fight and, just be like, oh, how's Nova doing? Because we know Nova now. Nova's like part of the group. And that'll
Nova's
spark
my
more conversation. Exactly.
Nova's sad that he hasn't seen Woad Made in a day or two.
It is
Yeah,
kind of,
can't wait for that part of that story.
it is kind of tough to think about, like, that we're all using our imaginations while we play Dungeons and Dragons, but it does feel like there's actually some kind of wolf there. Like, where it's just like, we've created this whole other character that we interact with and is not visible to any of us, but I understand who Nova is and that he's a wolf and that he's in our party and...
Probably my favorite thing about these games is once they get off on the right foot and you have a lot of players who know how to, like, actually bring their characters to life, it stops being, man, I really can't wait to play my character, and it becomes more of, I can't wait to see what my character does.
Yes.
There's this separation, almost this player nirvana that happens when, and this is why I really like D&D, is because I'm a glutton for punishment. And what I really like to see is I really like to see my characters in vulnerable or awful situations.
Dire straits, if you will.
Exactly, because I feel it brings the best story, and I feel like I'm interested to see how my character would react to it.
Yeah.
So let's. I wish Vic was here so we could get her input as well. But let's go around, and I want to see what everyone's favorite moment has been so far.
Oh man, I don't know.
And
I have a lot.
If your favorite moment was from the holiday special, mention it, but find something else.
Okay.
So
Because mine was.
Lowell, what about you?
Come back to me.
I got one.
James.
My favorite moment so far, and I understand how self-centered this sounds, but my favorite moment was when Camden revealed what was beneath the metal gauntlets to Leander.
Are we supposed to be talking about our own characters, or are we?
You can talk about whatever you want.
Okay.
Whatever.
Favorite moment
If it was a fight an overall fight you liked, if it was the mechanics of a fight that you liked, if it was something your character did that you liked, whatever you want.
So yeah, that's definitely my favorite moment right now because I feel like I did kind of slip into that moment where it was the words weren't really coming out as me; they were just flowing as Camden, basically revealing this
and, like,
dark backstory.
What a person to reveal it too. Leander's been the fulcrum for a lot of people, like revealing parts about themselves because he digs too.
He does.
He wants to know.
He knows exactly what buttons to press too.
Leander is the equivalent of sticking a knife in the door and trying to pry it open.
I have a question actually.
Okay.
Well, how long does it take you to get into Leander's character? Like, do you think about what he's going to do and how he's going to execute what he wants to do before the session?
Well, Leander, I have... This is an interesting question. Leander has a general process to his personality. Leander is comparable to an ambush predator. He tends to sit quietly and allow other things to happen, and then as soon as he sees his opportunity, that's when suddenly it all comes out at once. So he might remain quiet in a conversation with the king, for example, and suddenly when he hears something about, his daughter in danger or whatever, decide that that's the ammunition he can use to get what he wants.
It's devious.
And sometimes Leander also likes to learn things. If there's information he doesn't know, he likes to try and see if he can get it, whether he needs it or not. And if he feels that it's something that puts someone in a vulnerable position, he might save it away. Otherwise, he might want to know it just for the sake of knowing it.
I feel like Leander, as it stands, Leander obviously worships a moon, which we've established within my pantheon is an exarch of the Raven Queen. So in effect, Leander worships the Raven Queen. He'd be a good candidate to worship Ioun.
Ooh.
Explain.
To worship who?
Ioun, the goddess of knowledge.
Yes. Also would be a good one. But, and Leander, the way I play Leander's evil is he never does anything without a purpose. So you would never find Leander just robbing stores or something like that. And he doesn't particularly find a lot of reason for, anything so material. But when Leander gets motivated by something like, let's say, knowledge or trying to find answers to the questions he wants, or the one thing that's really been irking him is Leander wants the amulet back. That's when suddenly he'll start dipping his hand down into the big vat of evil, where suddenly it comes down to a matter of he'll do whatever he has to. So if he felt that he had to let Camden's order burn a bit to get his fingers on that amulet, he might let it happen. But at the same time, he does know he needs that Blood Hunter order, so he can't ultimately just do away with it or leave them.
It's almost like more manipulation than actually just straight out evil.
Leander is a behind-the-scenes type of villain.
Yeah.
You wouldn't typically find him, even when he was doing his own evil sort of stuff, which I know Leander doesn't talk about his past that much, but in his backstory, I make mention a couple times that he would do things, and a lot of times he would try to manipulate other forces into going in for him. Like, he would never rob a mausoleum. He would send goblins into the town to raid it, and then he would go in while everyone was busy.
Yeah, evil is not an act. Evil is a concept.
Right.
Acts can be evil.
And
but
axes can be sharp.
Yeah, I hate you.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
thing so far?
Okay, so for me, as far as like the whole show goes, before I started playing, from a listener's point of view, my favorite episode ever so far that you guys did was episode 10. And that was when you guys first got into Cross Warren. It was the best role-playing you guys ever did on your own. Where, you know, you enter the town, you had to interact with people to find where you were going. It was just beautifully done.
They met with...
Which one was Cross Warren?
Cross Warren's where you guys are now. That's the big trade city that you guys went to so you could go take care of the Lionheart Inn.
Yeah, so, you know, you had Leander... grabbing the people as they walked by. You guys had to deal with the guard at the front door. And it was really good practice before I came in because I wasn't all the way done listening to it by the time you guys invited me to play, so I had to binge the rest of it. So I got the opportunity to follow along and be like, well, if I'm Thunder, here's how I'm going to respond to this situation. So I got to respond to Jeff while listening to the podcast, but I was just responding to myself, like this is how I would answer. So episode 10, as far as that goes, is the best role playing you guys have ever done on your own, and that was really fun to listen to. Me personally, I really loved the interaction between Leander, even though it was tiny, between Leander and Thunder. Of the Thunder, do you have a last name? And it was just like, and I was like, oh no, I don't have a last name. Like I go on explaining like family history and like where like my origins come from, and he goes, that's fascinating. Here's a will, sign it, you know, and just like totally brushes off. Like it was played off so well because just that whole interaction of this is Thunder's character. I get to chat about my family and the things I love. And Leander just doesn't care, and just here's my goal, and here's what I wanted to do with it.
I just love the way you phrased that. Yeah, that's great. Here's a will, sign it.
You know,
That's kind of what you did.
And listening to the audio of that afterwards was just so beautifully done, like almost like we planned it. It was almost as if we planned to do that, you know. But that was just our characters being our characters, and that means, oh my gosh, we were role playing. Like, and we know our characters well enough to actually have a real conversation as our characters.
Lowell and I actually, after a session, put something together, and then we were like, we didn't even realize how funny it was, and then we were like, wait a second, our characters would totally say this.
Yeah, don't ruin the magic.
That was
all right.
Don't ruin the magic.
Never mind that.
You don't want us to say which moment that
No, don't
was?
say which moment it was.
All
Don't
right.
ruin the magic.
Because it was a really small moment.
Yeah.
No worries.
For me, it was our most recent session. It was Oak Grove, and it was the Lionheart Inn. As frustrating as Lionheart Inn was, I felt I really like puzzles. I'm one of those people, but also like it also gave our group a chance to talk to each other after the fact about things that were frustrating each other, like things that characters were doing. You could totally tell because we played like a 6-hour session and everybody was really pissed off after. And so like
Oh my gosh.
That was just stress from
it
the
was
fights.
so stressful, but it also
and
gave people a
exploring rooms.
chance. It gave us a chance to be like, your character, like, you were a dick today, stop. Like, it gave people a chance to kind of talk and be like, yeah, maybe we should do it this way. Or, like, I think that was a good learning experience, but just in general, like, for me, this whole game has been a big thing for me because from the get-go it was extremely frustrating and really hard for me to figure out how to do this, and now it's something that I've been like, we're gonna play D&D, I'm excited for this, we're gonna do this, I'm excited for this. Like, I just rolled my character for the one-shot, and I'm sad that I can't play Ava, but that's fine, fuck you.
You basically made Ava 2.0.
Yeah, I did.
You're a ranger instead of a druid.
But that's how you do it. That's totally how, because
Gateway drugs.
No, yeah, my first character was a rogue. My second character was a rogue. My third character, not a rogue, but like I was, you know, you slowly
Right.
build up your character
Yeah.
to, because right now Thunder is the best D&D character I have ever made.
I always encourage people to branch out from what they always play to explore
James.
things that are different. James,
Shut up.
because James always plays fighters and paladins. He played a ranger once, which was a sword-wielding ranger that walked into melee.
It's okay, Rangers suck. Sorry, I get you. I hate Rangers. I hate Rangers.
And then the I can only think of he played a dwarf once.
It was a one. Okay, to be fair, that was a one shot. I do have a fighter I'm playing right now, a barbarian, basically a barbarian fighter.
That's so different.
I remember the dwarf. So at one point, they were like guarding a caravan, and it got attacked by goblins. And there was all these like beer kegs in the back of the caravan, and one of the beer kegs fell on the ground and smashed open as one of the goblins tackled his dwarf to the ground. So as he's rolling to resist the grapple, he rolled a natural 20 to lick up as much of the beer as possible. So he's grappling for his life. There's goblins everywhere. People are screaming. And here's the dwarf lying flat on his back going, save the beer!
I did.
I think the only character I can think of that you didn't play a fighter or a paladin or a barbarian or something like that, you played a cleric for one session.
Darvin, yeah.
I'm going to start playing
at my request.
He was like a 70-year-old like cleric because I was playing with completely new players, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to play like my knowledge. An old guy who can't do shit to let the kids do it all.
Oh, heck no, I'm going to play as a cleric at one point. I've been building a ton of clerics.
Clerics are cool.
What were you going to say?
The big thing for me was just that, like, when we started this, like, I was a workaholic, and I still kind of am, and, like, I was in the process of figuring out what hobbies were and trying to get my life together again and just, frankly, be an actual functioning human.
Good luck.
And part of why I made Ava the way that she is because it was something that I'm not, and also, she's a fucking disaster waiting to happen, like fucking eating all the food and burning her face on goddamn pizza. That's another favorite, is the fucking pizza.
Oh, yeah,
the pizza's another favorite, but honestly, like, it has been a big thing for me, and just being able to play a character that is a wild child and doesn't wear clothes and basically just eats leaves and crawls around on the ground and turns into bears in cities, which is probably not something I should be doing.
That's something I always
Like-
promote with new people. Like, either play something that's the complete opposite so you can kind of explore that, or play something that you aspire to be. Like, my first character was like a good guy Sith, or like, you know, like a kid who just wanted to be a hero and go out and do hero things. Like, that's who I'd love to be.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
it helps you
Or
get
like
the character.
Ava
Or like how
Sorry, go ahead.
Or like how I just explained that I originally started to play Leander because I was pissed off that I had to be such a nice person in real life all the time. Whereas since then, for a while, then I wasn't enjoying Leander as much because I kind of like got a new job where now I play a gangster and now my job is to yell at people all day. So then when I came home to D&D, I no longer needed that outlet because I was mean all day for work. So I no longer needed to come home and still be mean.
Yeah.
And so my mind began to wander to like, well, what do I want my next character to be?
Ava was just a door to, like, so many other things. Like, one of the things that I had thought about at one point, especially when I was struggling to roleplay her, was that, like, how do you be Ava? You go outside. So, like, we went, and I'm not kidding, Jeff doesn't know this, but we went hiking one time so that I could play fucking Ava, and it was just, like, something
Are you
that
serious?
just, I'm not kidding.
This is, oh my gosh, that's
I spent
amazing.
time-
I wasn't even
Like-
aware of this. Like, whatever she was doing, I was probably just, oh look, Jen's being crazy today, whatever.
We went hiking, and I was trying to think like Ava would in the woods, and I was like, no, I think this was the day that I talked to you about how I think root patterns are really cool, and if you look at the roots of trees, they actually look kind of cool. And I pretty much say that every time we hike, but I spent time, like, trying to get into her mindset, and it was just this big round circle, and please don't think I'm a crazy person, but of me just starting to enjoy my life more and enjoy the things I can do with it and my hobbies. And so, like, Ava encouraged me to go outside more because I needed to get into what the fuck does Ava do? Is she in a Rafiki tree drawing I don't know. Like, what is she doing?
I think that's almost why every single time I create a character, they always have a sibling. Is because I know that
Right, because you're a twin.
I know that that connection and how
That's so cute!
well, like, because I almost feel like character depth can also be boosted by other characters. And there was one time when I played a Hengayokai cat character, which is a 4th edition race, and I had my DM understand that traveling with me were 3 other NPCs, and they were my sisters. And so I had to create backstories for them. I had to create, make sure they had at least minimal stats so that the DM could use them if he needed to. He worked it in his own way, which was perfectly fine. But this dynamic of always having a sibling, around for the story for my character is really important because it always gives me in the back of my mind, well, there's somebody else that I care about just as much as my character. Mm-hmm.
I also think you have a thing for cats, even though you're allergic to them.
Well, so I'm a huge Thundercats nerd. Thundercats is my jam. And so every time now, first I played a human, then I played a human, then I played a human, and then after I was like, oh, I've played a lot of humans. What else can I play?
James.
Yeah,
well, and tell about as versatile as James. Oh, somebody beat me to it.
And then that's when I started thinking, I was like, well, what other races can I play? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a Thundercat, and then I made a Thundercat, then I made another Thundercat. And it's just like, oh, this is the best. And
so, do you crawl around on the floor to get into character first?
See, no one's as weird as you are.
He plays with Binks. That's how he does
That's
it.
probably
I do play with
why
Binks
every time I make a character, they have a huge dick because I'm familiar with that sort of.
No. That's the example of wanting to have something you don't.
I'm not trying to. I'm really not trying to be funny, but the biggest thing for me was just
5d10 damage when we start the next game.
Right. I'm not trying to be funny, but the biggest thing for me was that this game was the pivot point for me to start caring about things other than work, sleep.
yeah,
that's cool.
And
it's
it
an
encouraged me to try to be more creative as well, because you can't roleplay a wild child when you wear a fucking suit every day.
Yeah, it's an outlet.
Yeah.
Very true. Lowell, what's your favorite moment?
I don't know. That's a rough one.
Even just something you liked.
This isn't going to be written in stone favorite moment of all time. Just
I, as a player, much like James, I was like Dire Straits. But whereas James enjoys Dire Straits for his character, I tend to enjoy Dire Straits for the scenario. For example, I liked going into the town and, the whole townsfolk are gone and, now the army has to show up and sort of despair over it. Or the idea of being trapped in the caverns. Or I liked how much danger was involved in the Christmas session where we got basically trapped against the ice elemental and all its little snow minions.
So freaking awesome.
And we were all suddenly faced with the idea of, oh man, we could get killed.
Oh no, we were all
here.
freaking out.
Yeah.
It was rough.
They were.
It was very fun.
That's the first time I pulled out my new mug that says when the DM smiles, it's already too late. And I was just sipping from that.
So rough.
That's a good example. If you put me into a situation where it's like, oh, you have to deliver this scroll to the town guard, you have to check on little Timmy trapped in a tree. That's when it loses my attention so damn fast. But the moment it's like, oh my god, the whole city is burning, and Galgathor, the Dragon Lord, is decimating it all, and Camden might be dead, and we're like, oh shit.
I love the way that Lowell
Sack a
describes
city
things.
with a dragon.
Wait. Good, he didn't type the second line.
literally, the worse the scenario gets, the more fun I start having. And I feel we get the best role play off moments like that. Because then, when the situation gets desperate, that's when true characters start to come out.
Yeah.
So I always like to talk about this one line from The Dark Knight, which is the Batman movie, the Christopher Nolan Batman movie.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
When you have the conversation with the Joker and he's basically telling somebody how he tortured and killed these police officers, and he mentions that in the last moments or in those real moments of darkness, people reveal who they truly are. And that's so true, especially in D&D, because when you are just going session to session and nothing has consequences, you don't really get that exploration of character. Right. You can kind of do the same thing I'm the good guy for good sake, and I did a good thing, and people are happy. Next session. Oh, I'm the good guy, and I do the good thing, and, I don't have any sort of gray area. The beast is bad. I kill it. People are happy. Next session. But once you get into those gray areas, once you get into those moments where someone loses a limb permanently, someone, has one of their family members, their backstory members, die in front of them, or someone has an intricate backstory and that comes to the foreground, and now they have a moment to have to act on that.
Or
those
somebody
are the
has to
moments.
pick, like, do I leave my friend to die, or do I stand here and chances are die in their place?
This is almost exactly where, like, the whole, hey, my character has a sibling comes in, because it's just like, well, now you don't just have your character worried about, now you give the DM somebody to toy with.
Exactly.
If it comes up, because then, you know, you don't know what the DM's going to do with that other character. It's just like, oh, you have a sister. That's really great. And it's like, they're in some place where you can't see them.
The most dangerous thing you can ever do at character creation is have a family.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why I do it. I put myself in that place so that I can be like, well, I wonder what would happen if this happened to my character. And then like, well, like what if my character is in this position, how would I respond to that? You know?
It's the tough questions that give you the best answers.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so exciting, because it's like, well, the DM's gonna do something, maybe, they might not. They might dangle the shiny keys in front of your face and be like, oh, we're gonna play, and then, you know.
But every time that troll makes its attack roll and your sister's near it, you gotta have that moment where your heart stops.
Yes.
Yep.
Something that I noticed too, like during the last session, that like I don't get to roleplay in animal form, and that's really tough because a lot of times things happen while I'm in animal form. But the last session kind of showed that I can do stuff, because I kept apologizing to James, like, I'm sorry that I moved you away. And then the same thing with Leander. I moved Leander away from his weapon, and you guys explained to me that you're melee combat weapon people. However, even though you might know that, and I may know that, my character would do what she thought was right in the moment. And Jeff and I had a long conversation about it afterwards, and he was like, does Ava think that's correct to do that? And she does. She's somebody who doesn't want to see you die because you're dumb and sitting there. So she's going to move you, and she's the only one that can move you. And so we had this long discussion about, that's like my role playing in that, like in those moments, like, yeah, I know I disarmed you. I'm sorry for doing that. But at the same time, like, my character's not going to just sit there and watch you and get stomped by a monster.
And that's still role-playing. Yeah.
No, see, that's exactly what I learned about Ava in that session, was it's like, oh my gosh, she's not going to let anybody die.
Yeah, if the implication, and you know, you're not beholden to this, but the implication in my head that I thought about as the evil DM is, you know, if
He's a
Ava's
nice guy.
put in a situation where she could save a life or complete the mission, she's going to save the life.
Exactly.
Correct.
And that's...
Oh.
Well, but that's...
Don't be sad.
That's okay. Like,
And that's why
that's
we're
part
opposites.
Of, that's her personality.
That's why we're opposites.
But Camden will complete the mission and be damned the person dies.
So here's part of it too. Ava's background tells her these guys all have something they need to do for something important for their future and for their life. I don't anymore. I don't have the thing that I had to take care of. I don't have that. So if I don't take care of them, they don't get to complete their mission.
That becomes an interesting backstory thing that people don't know about it.
I know, but I'm saying, like, that's part of my character. Is like, if Camden dies, he doesn't get to take care of his orders. So then, whose job is it? Mine. I'm a bear.
Yeah.
You know,
And, like,
that's another good thing about putting characters in dire straits, is suddenly, you know, secrets that they might have taken to their grave suddenly come out, because it basically looks like it's the end.
Yeah.
my character.
Or, you know, when characters have survived being in dire straits together, oftentimes they'll open up more. Like when Camden finally came out with his secret to Leander.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. It kind of went along with the character as well, the characterization of Thunder, when I decided to stick around with Leander.
Right.
Because even though I don't know Leander that well, Thunder's goal is, well, I have all these friends here now.
Right.
And the fact that he was standing there next to somebody is just like, well, I'm probably going to get blasted in the face by this rock elemental. But at least Leander will know that I'm there with him, like that I got his back.
Right.
And then I got punched right in the face and got knocked out cold. But that was it. I was just like,
And who got you back up?
Yeah, right.
This is
Leander
probably,
did.
Leander did get you back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Leander
exactly.
got you back up.
Yeah.
this is probably like a dangerous thing to say too, but like Ava is of the opinion that we can do it if we're all there. If we're not all there, we're not fucking doing anything.
Friendship.
I'm
We're gonna start invoking, like, you guys, as long as if you invoke the power of friendship in character, you
Never
get
do it.
advantage.
No. The entire party could be dead. It's just like,
Thundercats,
Camden,
oh!
you have to have a moment. I'll be like, no, fuck
Hey,
it.
But
What was that thing in my games that I was used to let you guys roll on if you remembered to do it? Was it like?
I
Was
think
it
it
romance?
was
Part of
the power
They
of
definitely
friendship.
feel romance.
Yeah, it was the power of friendship or something.
Anyway, what were you saying?
But that's a big thing.
Well, see, here's the thing, too. It even, in a way, shows Ava's thinking. Like, she grabs her friend, not the weapon. She grabbed the person she cared about, not the objective. Like, that to me just kind of speaks to more of her character. Mm-hmm. The way you're playing her in that moment, there is no wrong answer. Because, for example, Camden would think to grab the weapon because that's the way Camden thinks. Camden thinks, oh, I don't want to grab Leander away if I can't put Leander back into the fight at his peak, capabilities, which means for him to have his shovel that he never uses. But...
Did you say shovel?
Well, it's called spade. It's his hammer.
It's a hammer called spade.
Yeah, so I made fun of it.
Which is a reference to the giant ass spike on one of the hammer's heads.
Right. So there's always those moments in D&D. There's always those moments when somebody says, "Okay, my character is going to take a shot at that raven," and the entire rest of the party is like, "No, that's the king's raven, you fucking..." And, they're just like, "Nope, I'm gonna do it." And it always happens. I mean, whether it's
let's say
intentional
like a lizard in a tree.
Yeah, fuck you.
And it doesn't, when it comes down to it, it's all about, okay, well, what did your character do? Why did your character do that? And there's always going to be those moments. For example, Camden barricaded the house. And everyone was like, "That's dumb." And, for Camden's mind, he was like, "We need to reinforce, our defenses." And so, there will be moments like that happen. None of us really walk away from those and just say, "Oh, that was really dumb," whatever. They happen either because of player decision or a character decision.
Sometimes
and
it feels
just
a
kind of
conflict
rolls.
of interest, too.
It's very true.
My
Yeah.
character, you rode on my back after, so I felt like there was a little, you knew something. Either you had, hair on you, I have no idea. You figured it out that something moved you.
Or he just figured, look, there's a fucking bear. I'm going to write it.
Well, and I mean, there's also this moment, too. Because I got dragged away, I still had my shield. When I got revived, I threw it, ran back into the fray, and that's when I almost picked up Spade to use that weapon. It didn't offset us that much. And I mean,
so Camden
be
became
moments.
Thor!
My
God!
He can't be Thor and Captain America. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's rude. Yeah.
So
Wait, I need to ask you to deal with something.
I have to deal with a lot of things with
We
you.
need to talk about Talia's dreams. We need to.
Ooh.
What about Tally's dreams?
They're a really good mechanic for storytelling in this game. I really enjoy them.
I like
Her
them.
past is fucked up.
Her past is fucked up.
I stole it for my campaign. One of my characters or one of our players has PTSD, so I use nightmares and night terrors for her.
Woof.
Well, I mean, having dreams and nightmares has been a plot device as old as storytelling itself.
Oh yeah.
Lol, how, what is it like when she tells you about her dreams? Does it come to you as a surprise, or does Jeff fill you in on them so that you can manage them?
I hear them for the first time when Talia says them. So when Leander reacts to them, you're seeing kind of me react in character in real time.
So you don't listen to the exposition Jeff gives when.
The last time she got a dream, I wasn't there for that.
He wasn't there for that.
That's right. That's awesome.
That was the one when she was in.
That's bizarre to think about because I didn't even think of that.
That was the one when she was in her room.
Yeah.
And.
Oh, and Cersei Rune?
Yes, Cersei Rune.
I love that.
That was fun.
I love that. The thing I love about dreams is that dreams are non-literal and non-logical. So you can do a lot of fun things with dreams that don't make any sense, but they don't have to. They're a dream.
And what? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
Oh, and what made that dream in particular interesting is as you realize that for whatever reason, Leander was capable of recognizing Cersei Rune. So although it was Talia's dream, it would be like if you mentioned something if somebody mentioned they had a dream for something from your story.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So we're getting close to 2 hours. What? I'm curious, and I'm curious if our listeners would like to...
Oh, curious if they're still there.
Are we opening the floor to questions now?
What questions? Questions from
Next
are
call
our
out.
listeners going to ask things?
No.
Next call.
I honestly considered being like, hey guys, we're gonna be recording at this time of the day. If you want to throw questions at us on Facebook, we'll try to answer.
You know what would be
them.
really interesting? If they threw us questions and then you asked us them, like during one of these
We
things.
could do something like that.
We could do that. Jeff, if you have any questions for us about stuff, we could almost character interview.
Well, here's the question I have for you guys as players,
Like
and
one
then
or
I
two at the end
figure
of the
we
session.
can. Huh?
Or like one or two at the end of the session.
Well, yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
One question I have for you guys as players: what are you most excited for that has not happened yet?
Oh god, I'm gonna be selfish again.
That's okay.
I'm excited for the orc backstory because I want to see how Camden reacts to finding out what new things have happened with this orc clan.
What about you, Lowell?
I really want to continue with the story. As I said, little insignificant stuff doesn't do a lot for me. But when it comes down to a giant evil force bringing about an undead army and slaughtering villages into a bloody pulp, that's something that I'm really going to go for.
So you're excited for the Black King story?
Yeah, I'm excited for the Black King story. It's like waiting for Christmas, but first you have to sit through a class about interpretive history.
Just didn't go well.
What about you, Andrew?
I'm actually interested to see how Thunder is actually going to fit into the main storyline moving on, and as well as when and if you ever decide to fit Rain into the story.
Who is Rain? Oh, Rainolith?
No, not that Rain. Rain is Thunder's sister.
Oh.
I'm excited for the main story, but I'm also excited because I wish list something with giants, and I'm looking for that.
You did wish they something with giants.
I could speak giant. I want to meet giants.
And there have been a couple of... I have sown some seeds involving a particular individual.
I'm interested in a
If you
lot
guys
of the
remember his
bounties
name.
too. I wanna, but the bigger bounties that don't really the one that Camden has that nobody seems to fucking understand what's going on.
Yeah, that's the one I want to go. The other ones, the side ones are kind of neat and stuff, but for me personally, I've got the thing that relates to my backstory, the reason why his hands are burnt and his leg is burnt, and why he's scarred as an individual. That is right in front of my face, and the whole Black King storyline is right in front of our faces.
That's what I was talking about. It's you can't show us a chocolate cake and then expect us to eat some carrots.
Oh, I understand.
Granted,
Now that the big, really exciting stuff is on the table, it's. I mean, I'm okay doing side quests if you guys really want to do side quests, but now that I can see the fire giant, oh, that looks awesome. Oh, the blood hunter meeting and then the thing with the Black King, oh, that looks awesome. And now we have to go do now deliver this package to this store by 10 p.m. and it's all right.
Well, because granted, the way I built Thunder into the story is he can attack and stuff like that, but he's not a killy stabby assassinating rogue. He's a charisma rogue. He's all about talking
Which is
to
perfectly
people.
valid.
Yeah, he's talking to people. It's all 100% I'm going to talk our way out of this, guys.
How many languages
And we needed somebody who could do that anyway.
3 languages, I think. 2 or 3.
I don't know.
I think I'm
I
2.
feel charisma should give you 30.
I think if Vic were here, she'd say she's excited for the stuff involving her backstory.
Oh, absolutely.
And the stuff with really the one side quest you guys have right now is involving Sean Chucker.
Yes.
I think she's excited for.
There's also
to
the
get
lion.
that done.
I want to find the
There's
lion.
the dragon.
Something else too is I'm looking to play other animals besides bears and wolves and
You
bears.
have quite a few.
I have quite a few animals.
But the bears and wolves are always the most useful in every situation.
It's very true.
I'm looking to use more of those, and I'm looking to explore more about what druids do because I have a lot of things I can do, and I just don't realize they're on my character sheet.
Like
because
mechanically, what druids do.
I like being animals.
Nice.
You've started using your spell slots when an animal form to heal yourself.
Yes.
Which is good. That's something I almost never see. As an example, I almost never see Marisha on Critical Role do that when she's transformed, and it keeps you in animal form longer.
It keeps you in animal form longer, and then that way you don't have to use all your animal forms to be an animal. Additionally, I think one thing, because I did this the other day, kind of when we were looking at ranger stuff, was just refreshing myself on what druids can do as they level up and what I'm able to do, because eventually I'm going to need to know how to do
Druids get crazy at higher levels.
Oh, yeah.
You'll eventually... I think it's level 20, and I don't know if you guys will ever hit level 20. Maybe so. But at level 20... you can transform an unlimited number of times.
Oh yeah, I did know about that.
I mean, we level up like every 5 sessions, and we play a session every month. So in 18 years, we all should be the right level.
I hope we're still playing for 18 years. That sounds awesome. Jeez.
Here's one thing I can't wait for. I can't wait to get another feat so I can get more armored, so Camden can wear chainmail, so when I go into melee combat, I don't die.
And I can't wait to die, because Leander's taken most of his secrets to his fucking grave.
Isn't your AC like 18 with the shield?
My AC is... he's wearing... shit. I don't know my AC off the top of my head, but as someone who has to run in to do damage, I go down way too often.
You should ride on a bear more.
Let the bear go in first.
Roll better on your initiative.
Let the bear pull aggro.
Wait, I got a great idea. You should taunt them next time. Say something about their shoes, how you don't like them.
Talia misdirect onto Ava.
Oh.
She did it.
Camden, walk up and go like, "Hey, you're really ugly." That's what that bear over there said.
That's what that bear said. I didn't do that. I imagine that I'm going to keep causing problems as big animals, like that room that Talia thought was a mimic, and it was actually a box, and I accidentally pushed her closer to it.
I found a picture the other day, Jeff, that you'd really like. It shows a ladder going through a floor, and then at the very top of the ladder is this giant mouth-like monster, and the ladder is its tongue. And then the very next picture is the ladder is wrapped to the person climbing it and is pulling it into the mouth, and it says, "Ladder Mimic."
Dude! Alright, okay. Victoria hasn't listened to this yet.
Here's what we're gonna do.
I love emergent role-playing like that. Like, fighting mimics was not part of Talia's backstory. And
Oh, yeah.
And it was after she experienced fighting mimics, both in character and as a player, that she's developed a hatred for them, to the point where when I allowed her to rebuild Talia using the new Ranger rules from the Unearthed Arcana, that when she was picking her favorite enemy, she already had monstrosities before, but now she was like, definitely monstrosities, because I fucking hate mimics.
That's like the first session of the first game I ever played, which was Star Wars Saga. We had to rescue we had to rescue someone from an arena, and in the arena was a Wampa. Guess who grabbed aggro, unfortunately?
I was rescuing
For those
the
of you
NPC.
not familiar with Star Wars, a Wampa is the giant Yeti creature that Luke chops off the arm of on Hoth.
That goes Boa.
So, yeah, it immediately disarmed me, clawed me down to half my health, picked me up, and then slammed me into the wall over and over again, while everyone else was, I don't know, shooting into the back, or saving the rebel we were saving, while I'm screaming, "Shoot her!"
I enjoy that my animal forms have been given personalities and just general flaws, like being on top of a table and blocking Camden, bumping Talia closer to a box, just generally doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Clumsy and less than graceful.
It makes sense, too. You don't have, warrior training.
Well, and the thing is you're tiny and you turn into a big animal, so you don't understand your size.
No, I know, and it's funny
It's like,
because
what
I
is
sit
this?
there and I'm like, and I don't, part of the way that my animals are played, or I guess in my mind that I'm thinking about them walking around, is that they don't fucking notice that they're probably not welcome into the cities that I'm walking into with statues tied to my back and fucking wolves and men in masks. I'm probably not supposed to be there.
You see no bears and you see no Leanders.
I just bump into everything, knock shit over, and stuff pizza in my face. It sounds like a good day to me.
No, but that's a very good point, Andrew. I didn't even think of that. She's a small person who transforms into large animals. So there's going to be that miss kind of hand-eye coordination there.
I'm just imagining her going through a tavern in bear form and knocking everything over.
Ava's a wood elf, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
She's very small. She's not that old. She's very small.
You're like
And
halfling size?
I understand animals as far as like being in the woods. She's not halfling size. She's a little taller than that.
She's 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
Halfling.
No, halflings are like 3
Yeah.
feet.
She looks like me. I'm 5 feet tall.
Halfling.
So she knows how to like maneuver in the woods, and she can. She has like nature stuff, but in a lot of social situations that I'm an animal, like going into a city or being with you guys in a building in a crowded room trying to move around, it's really hard for me to not knock everything over and push people out of the way.
It makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, she's a wood elf. Leander's a high elf. Talia's a half elf, and I know what her elf half is.
right, but that's secret. That's also another reason why Ava and Camden don't click, because you don't take things seriously, and that's all Camden kind of knows how to do.
Camden's also highly trained, and I'm just
fun.
knocking shit over.
Yeah, that's very
until
true.
things
all
work.
right. Tactically, I'm going to need Ava up front. Ava, where are you? Why are you laying down?
Why are you
Oh my
eating?
God.
Why is Talia giving you belly rubs? What's going on? My favorite, I think one of the best things, like one of the best personifications that I've had was when we were in the Lionheart Inn and we were looking for food, I think. And I think it was a joke, but I hope it's part of it, was that me and Nova and Woadmane were all looking in the kitchen for food and trying to, like, stick our heads in bags
You were
and eating.
looking in the kitchen. I don't think anyone was looking for food.
We were looking
except
for
you.
food somewhere. No, because someone, I don't remember who it was, I think it was James, described it as us, like, sticking our heads in bags and, like, eating. And I'm just laying on the floor, like, holding a bag.
I think there was
Eating any food that was there would have had to be there for like 80 years.
not that long.
No, I just imagine, like,
Maybe
all
30.
right, like, look around. Did you guys find anything? Woadmane's like, no, I didn't find anything. And you're just like, okay, well, Ava, did you find anything? We just see a bear wander around the corner with, like, a pot stuck to its head, like, bouncing into the walls.
I think there was a Winnie the Pooh joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the honey pot.
The honey
stuck,
pot.
because honey doesn't go bad. I think somebody said that I had a honey pot on my paw. I love my bear.
Oh, God.
I got a stuffed bear because of D&D. I'm not even kidding, it's a sun bear.
Ava doesn't turn into a sun bear.
But I love sun bears, they're cute. And it's a brown bear.
Alright, well, we've been talking for about 2 hours.
Yeah, and I'm sick of you guys.
Yeah, we
Shut
know,
up.
we know.
Camden.
I hope everyone enjoyed our talking Aeramis. I think we might do what James was suggesting. We'll maybe
Like one or two at the beginning of the session to kind of get us into it.
or maybe at the end of the session, I'll be like, so and so asks Camden, why are you such an asshole or something.
Oh.
And then we can be like, oh, Camden's not really an asshole. That's just like James. I mean, James.
Yeah. We all hate talking to him, but he threatened us one time, so now we're all too scared to say no.
Damn right you are.
Damn straight.
I think that would be really cool because then people can ask questions. The only thing is that we have to choose how we're going to answer them because some things our characters don't know yet.
That's very true, and I mean, we also have to acknowledge too that all 5 of our fans will have to get into the line for this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
Temsu, Big
Well, I
Bad
mean,
Shadow
we-
Man, and Sean.
We don't have to do questions like, oh, what is so-and-so's backstory? It'd be more questions like, so so-and-so was really, like, mean to, like, for example, so-and-so was really mean in this situation, and it seemed to come out of nowhere. Like, what was your reasoning for that character choice?
Yeah, or
Check for traps.
did you, or what's been your favorite animal form to turn into, Jen, or stuff like that.
Or funny questions that our characters can answer.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
Or, like, how did you
Eva,
come
like,
up
what
with...
would be your favorite movie to go see this weekend?
What would Ava's favorite
Yeah, right? Like,
Lion King.
Like, if
The
Ava
Revenant.
existed in the modern day, what would be her favorite movie?
I will think it's funny if people start giving us situational questions. Like,
minor role in The Revenant.
like I would think it's funny if somebody started giving us situational questions. Like, my friends didn't invite me somewhere. What would Leander do? And like, Lowell writes back like a full response.
first thing you're going to want to do is
They're
get them
plotting
alone.
against you, clearly.
Leander just goes into full depth, like, detail with just like, all right, you're going to want to go ahead and walk up to their car. Popping the hood, you're going to want to look underneath the engine block. There you will find a cord. Take the snips I've provided and mailed to you. You're going to want to cut their brake line.
Oh, by the
She's
way,
mugging you. She's mugging you with her bound hands because she wants crack.
By the way, make sure you sign this will.
Yeah, right.
Mail it back to me. Leander actually lives in Florida.
Please return it in the mail.
I've given you postage. Please don't steal that. That'd be kind of a dick move.
I'll receive it via crow.
You're on the honor system on this one. I will know.
All right, everyone.
Wait, I have one real question.
Oh, one real question.
Does Leander's mask provide him with like all of his knowledge and memories, or just like the ones that he has trouble remembering because he's old?
That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
He's not going to answer that.
Moving on.
Damn it. I wanted to know if that's like his actual brain.
I'm sure people want to know more about Talia.
Leander has mentioned in character before that it stores memories, but he's never said more detail.
Right.
It's probably his brain.
Or maybe the memories of his
outside.
whole people.
Oh, you can put it on other people and take their memories? Fuck!
That would be dark as shit. Lol, are you writing that down?
Huh? No, I already marked most of you down for harvest. That's not anything I need to note.
All right, everyone. We should be playing a game on the 13th, which is Friday.
Yes.
Ooh. Said the ghost.
And I'm looking forward to 2017, to the second year of Aeramis. Hopefully we'll get more than 15 episodes done.
Don't forget.
I just thought for a second, just like, it's the newest expansion, year 2 of Aeramis.
Don't forget to thank our listeners. We started with 0,
Yeah.
and then that one person listening in the car, and now we have a lot of likes on Facebook and a lot of people.
Seriously, thank you.
We started with 0 listeners, and now we're proud to say we've multiplied that number by 10.
No, we do. I know that we have a couple people who listen, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
I hope to gather more. I hope that those of you who are still listening today have enjoyed what we've been providing.
Thank you for naming your Eevee after me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
One day, we will assemble an army, and we will storm the gates of Chicago.
Why Chicago?
They have gates.
Do they?
We'll find out.
It's easier to do Detroit. They don't have anything.
Oh.
I mean, if they don't have gates, we can help them put some up so that we can break them down.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That was such a
literally crying.
Better than New Jersey. We have listeners in Detroit and New Jersey now who are just like, fuck these guys, I'm not listening to them anymore.
Well, then don't listen to Wicked Anime, because this is a Detroit joke every week on Wicked Anime.
Yeah, if you came over here from Wicked Anime, yay, we love you. Bring more people.
Yeah, find your friends.
We don't want you guys to listen anyway. You see, now they have to listen because
Oh,
it's reverse
true.
psychology.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay, guys. Have a nice whatever it is while you're listening to this. And good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.